You feel it before you name it. The tightness in your chest on Sunday night. The way your voice softens in meetings where you know the room has already decided who matters. The performance review where you did the work but someone else got the credit. That feeling is not a personal failing. It is a 200,000-year-old survival program running on modern hardware. And the system that rewards one type of worker while crushing the rest did not emerge by accident. It was designed, codified, optimized, and then embedded so deeply into the architecture of corporate life that most people never see the blueprint. You are about to see it. In 1911, a mechanical engineer named Frederick Taylor published a book in New York City that would rewrite the DNA of every organization you have ever worked for. The principles of scientific management introduced the world to the task-oriented worker. Taylor believed there was always a single best way to do any job. His system measured every motion, timed every second, and it created a new ideal: the efficient, predictable, rule-following employee who does exactly what they are told. Taylor did not write about creativity. He did not write about intuition or collaboration or the human need for meaning. Those things could not be timed. They could not be optimized, so they were not rewarded. The template was set decades before you were born, and it is still the default operating system inside most companies today. But here is what is fascinating. That template only rewards half of who you are. In the 1930s, Henry Ford doubled down on this model at the Ford Motor Company. Fordism standardized the assembly line worker. Clock punctuality was rewarded with $5 per day. Skilled artisans who took pride in craft were replaced by interchangeable laborers. The system did not want your uniqueness. It wanted your compliance. And compliance was measured. If you showed up on time, followed instructions, and did not question authority, you survived. If you were visibly different, unpredictable, or creative outside the narrowly defined role, you were crushed. Not fired always, but sidelined, starved of recognition, left in roles where your potential decayed. You have felt this. You have sat in a cubicle or a Zoom call or a standing meeting and known that the person across from you was being rewarded for being the loudest, the most visible, the one who spoke in certainty even when they were wrong. And you wondered why the system kept picking them. The answer is older than your company, older than your career, older than capitalism itself. In 1970, Edgar Schein published his defining article on organizational culture in the Harvard Business Review. Schein defined culture as a pattern of basic assumptions that a group invents or discovers while learning to cope with its problems. Those assumptions then become the filter for who belongs and who does not. Think about your last job. The unwritten rules, the way people dressed, the jokes that landed, the type of person who got promoted. That was Schein's pattern in action. The culture did not emerge naturally. It was selected for, reinforced. The leaders chose one type of worker and built the reward system around them. Now, here is the part that is hardest to explain away. In 2005, Christoph Brown and colleagues published a meta-analysis in the Journal of Applied Psychology, covering nearly 3,000 participants. They found that employees with strong person-organization fit received 23% higher performance ratings and 31% larger bonuses than those who did not fit the culture. The system is not blind. It sees you. It evaluates you. And if your natural wiring does not match what the culture values, you will be penalized. Not explicitly, not cruelly, but consistently and measurably. How did this happen? How did the modern workplace become a sorting machine that rewards certain psychological profiles while marginalizing others? You have to understand what your brain is doing inside this environment. Your ancestors did not sit in performance reviews. They sat around campfires. The threat of exclusion in a hunter-gatherer band was not a bruised ego. It was death. Being cast out meant no protection, no food sharing, no allies. Your brain evolved to scan for social acceptance with the same urgency it scans for predators. When you enter a corporate culture that does not recognize your contributions, your ancient threat detection system activates. The same cortisol spike that warned your ancestor about a leopard tells you that you are losing status. The same neural circuitry that kept you safe in the savannah now keeps you anxious in an open-plan office. And the culture knows this. It exploits it. In 1990, Jack Welch introduced rank and yank at General Electric. The top 20% of performers were celebrated. The bottom 10% were cut. This became the template for a generation of leaders. The system was designed to reward high visibility, charismatic employees who thrived under pressure. And it crushed everyone else. If you are the type of worker who needs time to reflect before speaking, you lost. If you are the type who does deep focused work rather than fast visible output, you lost. If you bring emotional intelligence instead of aggressive certainty, you lost. The culture was not built for you. But here is the self-recognition trigger you have been waiting for. If you have ever sat in a meeting knowing you had the best solution but stayed silent because the room rewarded confidence over accuracy, you know exactly how much this comes with the feeling of being invisible. Your contribution was real. The system did not see it. Seibert, Kramer, and Krant studied over 1,000 employees and found that proactive personality predicted nearly half a standard deviation, higher promotion likelihood. Reactive workers experienced 12% lower salary growth over a 5-year span. The system does not wait for you. It rewards those who push themselves forward, regardless of whether they are right. Now, what does this have to do with the ancient wiring in your skull? Everything. Because the traits your corporate culture rewards are not universally superior. They are culturally selected. The loud, fast, confident type is only one expression of human capability. But because the culture was built by and for that type, it has become the only path to recognition. In the 2000s, Google built what they called an adhocracy culture. At the Googleplex, creative, data-driven, risk-taking engineers were celebrated. Peer review bonuses reinforced the innovation-type worker. Process-type workers were tolerated but never elevated. Schmidt and Rosenberg documented this in How Google Works. The result was a dual-track reward system that made one type feel like a genius and the other feel like a placeholder. You have seen this. The person who gets the stretch assignment, the person whose ideas are remembered, the person whose name comes up when leadership is discussed. It is not always about merit. It is about fit, and fit is defined by a culture you did not design. In 2020, the pandemic accelerated this divide. Twitter granted unlimited remote work to self-directed, results-oriented employees while penalizing those who needed managerial oversight. The split between autonomous and dependent worker types deepened overnight. If you thrived without structure, you were liberated. If you needed clear expectations, you were left behind. Dacey and Ryan's meta-analysis of over 3,000 participants found that self-determination correlates strongly with intrinsic motivation. Cultures that reward autonomy see 38% lower turnover. But here is the uncomfortable truth. Autonomy is not distributed equally. It is given to those who already fit the culture. What if the way you work is not a weakness, but a different operating system that your environment refuses to recognize? In 2002, Joanne Martin published research on the dark side of organizational culture. She found that cultural rigidity leads to in-group bias. Type A high-visibility employees receive 1.6 times more developmental opportunities than Type B compliance-oriented staff. The same work, different recognition, because the culture decided who was worth investing in. You know this. You have watched a colleague get the mentor, the training budget, the visibility, while you delivered the same output and were overlooked. And you internalized it as your fault. You thought if you just worked harder, were more strategic, spoke up more, you would be seen. But the evidence suggests something different. The culture is not evaluating your performance. It is evaluating your fit, and fit is largely determined before you even enter the room. Barker and Demiruti's study of 4,500 employees found that job crafting behaviors, which are typical of creative workers, predict higher engagement. Organizations that recognize job crafting award 15% larger merit increases. But most cultures do not recognize it. They reward it only when it comes from the expected personality type. If you are naturally a job crafter, you are rewarded. If you are naturally a process follower, you are neglected. The system does not see your potential. It sees your deviation from the template. In 2020, Kivimaki and colleagues found that perceived procedural unfairness triggers 15% higher salivary cortisol levels. Your body knows when the system is rigged, and it responds with stress. 12% lower self-rated performance follows. The culture creates the failure it then blames you for. This is the loop. The culture selects for one type. You do not match. You experience unfairness. Your stress rises. Your performance drops. The culture uses that drop to justify its original choice. You were never given a fair chance to prove what you could do in an environment designed for you. But here is the revelation you have been waiting for. The culture is not a conspiracy. It is a human pattern that has been reinforced for over a century. Since Taylor published his principles in 1911, organizations have been optimizing for the wrong thing. They optimized for predictability, for efficiency, for the worker who could be timed and measured and replaced. They did not optimize for the full range of human intelligence. The Krug fMRI study from 2021 showed that the ventral striatum activates significantly more when people anticipate performance-based bonuses versus seniority-based ones. Your brain is wired to want meritocracy, but the culture does not deliver it. It delivers meritocracy for the few who fit the mold and procedural fairness for everyone else.